What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. It's no secret that the traditional assassins in this meta aren't so great right now, mainly due to being somewhat overnerfed by Riot. But the assassin playstyle is always going to be incredibly strong for solo queue, and so finding new ways to abuse the playstyle of one-shotting people is a really good way to win games. And right now, one of my favorite ways to do this is with the Burst Mage. Let's get started. Alright, so what I mean by burst mages are the mages who have enough damage within one rotation of abilities to be able to one-shot someone. Champions like Malzahar, Lux, Vel'Koz, and my personal favorite, Annie. There's definitely more of course, but that type of champion right now is particularly strong in this meta due to the assassin playstyle that they can create. The Burst Mage playstyle involves hitting your entire combo on someone who is in range in order to effectively one-shot them, before they can react or do anything. This usually involves hitting some crowd control and then unleashing your combo, and this playstyle is so successful because it really punishes the nature of pretty much everyone to overextend all the time, by allowing you to really punish just a tiny misstep in positioning. And people really tend to not respect the power, since most, in fact almost all champions are not able to punish the minor positioning mistakes that players make, unlike the Burst Mage, who all it takes is a tiny, really minor misstep, and you can flash in and pick up a free kill pretty much every time your cooldowns are up. And it works so well because it's so punishing of a mistake that is often really small and would go completely unpunished by any other type of champion, and so it's a mistake that most players tend to have a really hard time to stop making in their games. And so right now Burst Mages are really powerful and are sporting really high win rates pretty much across the board on almost every champion. And the reason why a Burst Mage is better than a traditional assassin, especially for solo queue, is that the Burst Mage playstyle has a lot less counterplay than an assassin. There's no peel, no kiting, no crowd control that can stop a Burst Mage that gets in range, because it just happens instantly. It's basically impossible to react most of the time. In addition, Burst Mages tend to be relatively easier to play than a traditional assassin, since there's a lot less mechanical skill involved. Your play is as simple as hitting your crowd control spell. All you have to do is hit one ability to pull off your entire combo, and most Burst Mages are either fairly high range or have basically targeted crowd control in their kits. On the flip side though, Burst Mages tend to be a lot weaker at chasing compared to traditional assassins. In fact, they're absolutely abysmal at chasing and catching up to a target that is out of range of their kit, which is why we really don't see these Burst Mages played too often at the LCS level. They rely almost entirely on your opponent making positioning mistakes. However, they're extremely punishing of even just a really tiny mistake, so the playstyle is incredibly effective for solo queue. And whenever you have flash up, you can easily use it to make plays, and when it comes to solo queue, players really don't respect the power of flash, and flashing in tends to be a really successful play to make, since players don't prepare for it and they don't really judge it as a mistake when they get flashed on. Like, a lot of people get flashed on and then they use them getting flashed on to excuse their mistake, and so they don't really learn from what was actually a positioning mistake. And in addition, these Burst Mages tend to be a little bit off meta, or at least reasonably unpopular, since they don't get played in the LCS for the reasons that I mentioned earlier, and so overall people do a really poor job of respecting the power that you bring to the table, which allows you to make a lot of plays and really catch out loads of people, create tons of picks, help you snowball, and carry the game really hard. It's also worth mentioning that Burst Mages tend to be a little bit weak against traditional assassins, because the mobility that assassins have allows them to really outplay the Burst Mages somewhat easily most of the time, or at least ensure that their flash is on cooldown, which is another reason why Burst Mages weren't as popular before. But now that most, if not all, of the traditional assassins have been completely nerfed into the ground, Burst Mages really shine through. Burst Mages are also pretty good at killing tanks too, since their crowd control helps them kite, and their skill rotations tend to be on reasonably short cooldowns, and you usually do enough damage to be able to kill a tank within 2 rotations of your skills, or even with just 1 rotation with the help from an ally. So Burst Mages succeed quite well in a tank meta as well, and being able to one-shot squishies is really powerful and can often prevent the opponents from being able to kill your tanks completely. So Burst Mages as a whole are just a fantastic playstyle in this this meta, and I highly recommend trying them out. And that just about wraps it up. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to tap that like button to support me, as well as you can hit that subscribe button for some more awesome content in the future. And definitely check out some of my other videos on the screen too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.